Hey guys, tonight we step into the misty heights of the Andes, where sacred mountains cradle terraces that once echoed with the whispers of ancient farmers. The air is thin and cool, carrying the scent of damp earth and wild herbs. You trudge slowly along a narrow path, surrounded by towering peaks that pierce the sky like the spires of forgotten temples. Somewhere below, hidden from casual eyes, lie the remnants of ancient potato farms. Farms that grew varieties so strange and diverse, you probably won't survive the excitement of tasting them. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time below so we can see who's awake at this ungodly hour. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The Andes, with their jagged silhouette, are more than just mountains. They're a living archive of human ingenuity. Long before the Inca Empire rose to power in the 15th century, these highlands were home to a variety of wild potatoes, thriving in the cold, rocky soil. Historians confirm that the domestication of potatoes began some 7,000 years ago in these regions, making them one of humanity's earliest staple crops. Imagine that. While your ancestors were figuring out fire, ancient Andean farmers were selecting tubers for flavor and hardiness, turning wild roots into lifelines. You can almost hear the crunch of dried leaves beneath your feet, a whisper of the many footsteps that carved these terraces and planted those first precious potatoes. Fringe archaeological finds suggest some pre-Inca cultures worshipped the humble potato as a gift from the mountain gods, a belief that still lingers in local lore. Historians still argue whether this reverence was widespread or limited to isolated communities, but it's clear that potatoes were more than just food. They were sacred. As you take in the panoramic view, the terraces stretch out in neat green ribbons, hugging the mountainsides with mathematical precision. The chill in the air hints at the altitude, and you shiver, thankful for your woolen cloak. These terraces aren't just agricultural feats. They're spiritual statements etched into the earth. You joke quietly that even the mountains had to learn patience to grow these crops, which is probably why they don't complain about hikers like you. The sun begins to rise higher, casting golden light over ancient stones and mossy steps. You breathe deeply, tasting the cool mountain air, mixed with faint traces of wild herbs and earth. This is a place where history, nature, and human resilience intertwine, all centered around a humble tuber that fed an empire and continues to surprise us today. You continue your climb along the zigzagging terraces, each step bringing you closer to the heart of these ancient farms. The air grows crisper, filled now with the faint scent of rich soil and distant blooms. Your fingers trail over the rough stone walls that have stood for centuries, holding back earth and memory alike. As you pause to catch your breath, you gaze out over the patchwork quilt of cultivated land below, green and brown rectangles stitched together with careful hands. These terraces, or andines as the locals call them, were engineering marvels of their time. Historians affirm that the Incas perfected these systems, creating microclimates that allowed them to grow multiple crops at varying elevations, a technique so advanced it could be mistaken for early climate control. Think of it as the ancient version of your modern greenhouse, only without electricity or glass panels. You can almost hear the hum of nature's thermostat, adjusting to keep potatoes safe from frost and drought. Fringe scholars whisper that some terraces doubled as ritual spaces, where farmers would conduct ceremonies to honor Pachamama, the earth mother goddess, before planting or harvesting. Whether these rituals were mere superstition or integral to agricultural success, historians still debate. But it's easy to imagine that in such a harsh environment, faith was as vital as farming tools. As you move forward, you spot a variety of potato plants thriving in different stages of growth. The leaves range from deep green to purple hues, and some tubers peek shyly from the soil, flaunting shapes and colors you've never seen in your supermarket back home. There are purples, reds, and yellows, all telling tales of biodiversity honed by centuries of selection and adaptation. You pause by a particularly gnarly plant, its knobbly roots twisting like ancient fingers. Fringe botanists claim that some of these wild potato varieties possess natural resistance to pests and diseases, a secret weapon in the agricultural wars of the past. Historians still argue whether early farmers understood this resistance or if it was accidental survival of the fittest. Either way, it's clear these potatoes were more than just sustenance. They were genetic treasure chests. You gently dig around the roots, unearthing a small, oddly shaped tuber, warted and knobbly, nothing like the smooth spuds you're used to. You joke that this one looks like it survived a sandstorm or two, perhaps the toughest potato in the Andes. It feels earthy and alive in your palm, a tangible connection to those ancient hands that first planted it. The morning sun climbs higher, warming the terraces and your chilled fingers. Around you, the landscape pulses with quiet life. The distant call of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the soft trickle of a hidden mountain stream. Here, in the cradle of civilization, every plant and stone tells a story of survival, innovation, and a deep bond between people and their land. You tread carefully along the narrow paths winding through the terraces, feeling the ancient soil give slightly beneath your boots. Each step seems to echo with the footsteps of farmers long gone, their presence lingering like a soft whisper carried by the mountain breeze. The scent of damp earth mingles with the faint aroma of herbs growing wild among the potato plants, grounding you in this timeless landscape. In these sacred farms, the Incas cultivated dozens of potato varieties, each suited to a specific microclimate, created by the terrace's elevation and orientation. Mainstream scholars confirm that this biodiversity was no accident. It was a deliberate strategy to safeguard food security against the unpredictable mountain weather. It's like a natural insurance policy, a garden of genetic possibilities planted centuries before modern agriculture dreamed of resilience. Fringe botanists speculate that some of these forgotten potato types might hold cures or nutritional benefits, unknown to contemporary science, sparking renewed interest in Andean biodiversity. Historians still debate how much ancient farmers understood about plant genetics versus trial and error, but you can't help marveling at their intuitive wisdom. As you pause near a patch where tubers with vibrant magenta skins grow alongside creamy white ones, you notice a small group of farmers tending the fields. Their woven hats and colorful ponchos stand out against the earthy backdrop, and their hands move with practiced ease, gently loosening soil, checking leaves, and sharing quiet conversation. You smile, feeling like an invisible guest in their daily ritual. One farmer gestures to a peculiar tool, a wooden dibble stick carved with intricate patterns. He explains with a warm smile that this stick is not just for planting but also a talisman to protect the crops from evil spirits. Fringe beliefs in Andean communities still hold that the earth has a soul that must be respected and soothed. Whether these rituals affect crop yields or simply foster community cohesion, historians still ponder. Nearby, you spot a small fire pit where young potatoes are roasted over embers, filling the air with a smoky sweetness. The smell is intoxicating, evoking images of ancient feasts shared after long days of labor. You recall tales of potato festivals celebrated in the highlands, where villagers honored Pachamama with offerings and songs, a cultural tapestry woven tightly with agriculture. You lean in to examine a tuber freshly pulled from the soil, its skin mottled with red and yellow blotches like a painter's palette. You joke that this potato looks ready for a royal banquet, if only the Incas had invented French fries. The farmer laughs quietly, sharing a story about how these potatoes sustained entire communities during harsh winters, their resilience a testament to nature's generosity and human care. The sun shifts, casting long shadows across the terraces, and you feel the ancient land breathe beneath your feet. A living archive of survival, ingenuity, and reverence. Here, every potato variety is a chapter, every terrace a page, and you are reading a story that continues to unfold with each dawn. You move deeper into the mosaic of terraces, the air growing thinner and cooler as you ascend higher into the mountains. The sky stretches wide above, pale and infinite, and the wind carries with it a chill that whispers of approaching nightfall. Here, at this altitude, the potato varieties change once again, smaller, tougher, and often with hues that shimmer between purple and blue. These are the crops of the brave, cultivated where only the hardiest dare to tread. Mainstream research reveals that these high-altitude potatoes contain unique pigments, anthocyanins, which may have provided ancient Andean people with antioxidant-rich food long before modern nutritionists took note. It's fascinating to think that these tiny tubers packed such health benefits, quietly sustaining civilizations through cold mountain nights. Fringe ethnobotanists suggest that some of these blue and purple potatoes were also used in ritual ceremonies, their colors symbolizing water and life, an idea still debated among scholars. Historians still argue whether such symbolic use was widespread or reserved for select elites, but the aura of mystery adds depth to the fields around you. You notice carved stone markers dotting the terraces, silent sentinels engraved with ancient glyphs and patterns. A local guide tells you these stones acted as spiritual anchors, believed to connect the farmers with Pachamama, the Earth Mother. Offerings of coca leaves and small ceramics were often placed at their base, blending agriculture with devotion, in a seamless embrace. As twilight approaches, you spot a small fire flickering near one of the stone markers. Villagers gather around, sharing simple meals of roasted potatoes and maize, their laughter a soft counterpoint to the vast silence of the mountains. The firelight dances on weathered faces and colorful textiles, weaving warmth into the cold evening air. You lean against a rough-hewn wall of stacked stones, catching your breath and savoring the tranquility. The landscape here feels suspended between earth and sky, past and present, a place where history breathes softly beneath the stars. You quip that if you could only harvest these potatoes with a song, it'd make farm work a lot less boring. A nearby elder chuckles, sharing a whispered tale of ancient songs sung to coax the earth's bounty, a lullaby for the restless soil. As darkness deepens, you watch the stars emerge, brilliant, silent witnesses to centuries of toil and tradition. The mountain holds its secrets close, but for tonight, it shares a glimpse of its timeless heart. You awaken with the first light, the pale dawn casting soft shadows across the mountain terraces. The air is crisp, tinged with the scent of damp earth and faint floral notes carried from distant valleys. As you step outside, you notice the farmers, already at work, their silhouettes moving rhythmically against the golden sky. These early risers tend to the ancient irrigation channels, narrow stone-lined furrows that snake through the terraces, delivering precious water from melting glaciers. And mountain springs. Mainstream studies confirm that the Incas engineered these sophisticated waterworks to maximize efficiency, enabling cultivation at altitudes where rainfall was scarce and erratic. Fringe historians speculate that these irrigation systems also held symbolic meaning, representing the veins of the earth itself, pulsing life into the soil. They debate whether certain channels were designed to channel not only water, but also spiritual energy, an idea still open to interpretation. You watch as a young woman delicately adjusts a small sluice gate, diverting the flow to newly planted rows. Her hands move with practiced grace, a dance honed over generations. Nearby, children gather wild herbs and flowers, weaving them into simple garlands that will adorn the day's offerings. The farmers carry baskets woven from reeds, heavy with freshly harvested tubers of every shape and color, some round and golden, others twisted and red, each telling its own story. The diversity is staggering, a living catalog of the mountain's bounty. You pause to taste a warm, roasted potato offered by an elder, a humble gift, yet rich with flavor and history. The skin crackles gently under your teeth, and the soft flesh melts with a subtle sweetness that belies its rugged origins. You joke that this might be the best fast food the ancient world ever knew. No drive-through, just straight from the fire to your mouth. The elder laughs, sharing a story of how their ancestors believed each bite carried the spirit of the mountain itself. Around you, the landscape buzzes softly with life. Birds call from rocky crags, and distant bells jingle as llamas traverse the trails below. The scene feels alive with the quiet pulse of daily ritual, a reminder that history isn't just found in books, but lived every day. As the sun rises higher, warming your skin and lighting the peaks, you carry a deepened appreciation for this sacred connection between people, place, and the humble potato, the mountain's gift that nourished a civilization. You follow a narrow path winding through the terraces, your footsteps muffled by the soft earth. The morning mist clings stubbornly to the valley below, swirling around stone walls and whispering secrets of ancient toil. As you ascend, the air grows thinner and cooler, filled with the crisp scent of pine and damp moss. Ahead, you spot a cluster of farmers gathered around a wooden frame, supporting a tightly woven net. They are carefully sorting through a harvest of potatoes, separating varieties by size, color, and texture. Mainstream archaeologists have documented such early sorting techniques, recognizing them as vital to preserving seed stock and ensuring future harvests. Fringe theories suggest that some farmers believed certain potato varieties possessed protective qualities against mountain spirits or bad luck, using ritual blessings during the selection process. Historians still debate whether these beliefs influenced agricultural practices or were simply folklore passed down through generations. You watch as an elder woman, her face weathered but serene, holds up a striking purple tuber, inspecting it closely before nodding approvingly. Beside her, a younger man scribbles tally marks on a wooden board, a practical ledger of this season's bounty. Nearby, a small fire crackles softly beneath a clay pot, its savory aroma mingling with the earthy scents. The farmers take turns dipping pieces of roasted potatoes into a spicy sauce made from local peppers and herbs. You're offered a taste, and the heat awakens your senses, grounding you in this shared moment. You joke that even after centuries, some things like good food and better company never go out of style. Laughter bubbles up among the group, warm and genuine, echoing across the terraces. As the sun climbs, you notice carefully carved terraces etched into the rocky slopes, each level a testament to human ingenuity overcoming nature's challenges. These Andines not only prevented soil erosion, but also created microclimates ideal for growing a rich variety of potatoes, from the frost-hardy to the tender. You trace your fingers over the rough stones, imagining the countless hands that built and maintained this living architecture. The terraces whisper stories of resilience, adaptation, and the deep bond between people and land. A breeze stirs the leaves of nearby trees, carrying the distant echo of a flute's soft melody. A lullaby sung by a passing shepherd, tying the present to the past with its gentle notes. You feel a quiet awe settling in, realizing that these mountain farms are more than just fields. They are a vibrant tapestry of culture, history, and life. Thriving where others might see only stone and sky, you continue your climb, the air growing thinner and the panorama expanding beneath you. The patchwork of fields stretches like a mosaic of greens and earth tones, each plot telling a tale of careful stewardship and ancient knowledge. The mountain slopes cradle these farms, shielding them from harsh winds and preserving precious moisture. Along the path, you spot stone markers etched with intricate symbols, signs used by early farmers to denote potato varieties or planting schedules. Mainstream archaeologists have unearthed such markers across Andean terraces, highlighting the sophisticated agricultural calendars of pre-Columbian societies. Fringe scholars propose these symbols also encoded spiritual meanings, linking crops to celestial cycles or ancestral deities. Historians still debate whether such interpretations are factual or modern romanticizations of indigenous practices. You pause by a small shrine, draped in woven textiles dyed with natural pigments, deep indigos, vibrant russets, and earthy ochres. A handful of offerings lie on a carved stone altar: potato tubers, maize kernels, and bundles of fragrant herbs. The shrine's presence underscores the sacred relationship between people and the land, where farming is both livelihood and devotion. Nearby, a young woman carefully tends a patch of rare potato varieties, her fingers gentle as she removes wilted leaves and checks for pests. Her clothing blends seamlessly with the landscape, muted teal and saffron fabrics woven by local artisans, each thread a symbol of heritage. You watch as she hums a soft tune, a melody passed down through generations, believed to coax the earth into generosity. The song intertwines with the wind, carrying stories of ancestors who first shaped these terraces by hand. You joke quietly that even the potatoes here have better social lives than you do, attended by songs, prayers, and a whole community's care. The woman smiles knowingly, offering you a small violet tuber to taste, its flavor rich and earthy. As the sun arcs higher, you notice irrigation channels carving through the terraces, their gentle flow sustaining life amid rocky soil. The engineering marvels showcase ancient ingenuity, designed to capture glacial melt and distribute it with precision. You step carefully across stone bridges spanning the channels, feeling connected to centuries of farmers who walked these same paths. The landscape is alive with history, resilience, and quiet celebration of the humble potato. A distant bell tolls, signaling midday prayers, and you pause, joining in the reverence that binds this community across time. The afternoon sun softens as you descend into a hidden valley where the air carries the sweet scent of blooming lupines and freshly turned earth. Here, the terraces give way to smaller plots, each cultivated with painstaking care and hosting. A dazzling array of potato varieties, some with vibrant purple skin, others mottled with streaks of russet and cream. You kneel beside a mound of freshly harvested tubers, their rough skins telling stories of the mountain's harsh climate and the farmer's patient nurture. Mainstream studies confirm that the Andean farmers developed these diverse strains to adapt to microclimates, ensuring food security despite unpredictable weather. Fringe accounts suggest some potato varieties were also prized for their supposed medicinal properties, tubers said to ease headaches or soothe stomach ailments. Historians still argue whether such uses were widespread folk remedies or isolated practices among certain communities. Nearby, an elder shares tales with a group of children, his voice weaving legends of mountain spirits who protect the crops from frost and pests. You listen as the stories unfold, blending myth and memory into a vibrant tapestry that breathes life into the rocky soil. The children mimic the elders' gestures, dancing around a small fire where a pot of stew simmers, its ingredients sourced from the very fields they tend. The aroma mingles with the crisp mountain breeze, creating a sensory feast that complements the oral histories. You joke that these youngsters have a better history lesson than any dusty classroom could offer, and the elder laughs, nodding in agreement. He offers you a spoonful of stew, its rich flavors grounding you in the moment and connecting you to centuries of tradition. As shadows lengthen, you observe the farmers preparing their fields for night, covering tender plants with woven mats to shield them from frost. The care and respect woven through their routines reveal a deep understanding of their fragile environment. You stand quietly, feeling the pulse of the land and its people, a living story written in tubers, songs, and daily rituals. Night begins to cloak the terraces in deep indigo, and the stars ignite above like scattered gems set into velvet. You settle near a flickering fire where elders gather, their faces lined with wisdom and smiles that have weathered countless seasons. Their voices rise in song, a haunting melody that sways with the mountain wind, weaving history and hope into the fabric of the night. You notice the flicker of candlelight, dancing on the walls of nearby stone huts, built low against the chill, and echoing the ancient architecture preserved by the community. Mainstream archaeologists affirm that these constructions date back to pre-Incan times, designed for warmth and protection in an unforgiving landscape. Fringe scholars argue whether these homes also served as ceremonial spaces, hosting rites that bonded the community and appeased the mountain deities. Historians still debate the extent to which spiritual life influenced daily survival practices here. A woman cradles a woven basket filled with different potato varieties, each labeled with a unique name that reflects color, shape, or origin, a tradition passed down through generations. You listen as she explains the significance of preserving these varieties, not just as food, but as living heritage. Nearby, a young boy plays a simple wooden flute, echoing the lullaby themes you've heard throughout the journey, linking present to past in a seamless thread. You marvel at how music here transcends time, becoming a vessel for memory and identity. You joke softly that if lullabies could grow potatoes, this place would feed the world twice over, earning gentle laughter from those gathered. The warmth of the fire and the strength of their stories lull you toward a peaceful reverie. As you gaze upward, the constellations seem to trace the ancient trade routes, silent guides for travelers long gone, but never forgotten. You feel cradled by the night, comforted by the enduring pulse of culture and nature entwined. Dawn breaks slowly, painting the sky with soft apricot and lavender hues as you rise with the mountain's first light. You tread carefully across the terraced fields, dew clinging to the rich earth beneath your boots. Each step stirs the scent of damp soil and the faintest trace of roasted potatoes from a nearby hearth. Your eyes settle on a cluster of drying racks hung with tubers of every imaginable color, from creamy white to deep purple, spotted and striped like tiny desert landscapes. Mainstream agronomists confirm that this traditional method of freeze-drying, known as chuño, preserves potatoes for years, a vital innovation in these harsh climates. Fringe folklorists debate whether the process was inspired by natural observations or carefully guarded sacred knowledge passed down through ritualized practice. Historians still argue about the ceremonial significance of chuño production alongside its practical benefits. Nearby, an elderly man tends a small fire under a clay pot, gently stirring a stew of native potatoes, herbs, and mountain meats. The steam rises, swirling in the cool morning air, a fragrant invitation to the day's first meal. You note that communal cooking like this fosters not only sustenance, but social bonds vital to community survival. A young woman approaches, offering you a taste of the stew, her smile warm and inviting. You savor the earthy richness, imagining centuries of recipes shaped by the landscape and ingenuity. You joke that this must be the original power breakfast for mountain climbers, drawing a chuckle. Around you, the terraces awaken with life. Farmers emerging from stone houses, children running between rows of crops, and llamas grazing quietly on sparse grasses. The scene pulses with resilience, the fruit of patience and respect for the land. As you take a deep breath of crisp air, you realize the mountain farms are not just food sources but living histories. Each tuber a story, each terrace a testament to human perseverance against nature's extremes. The sun climbs higher, casting sharp shadows across the patchwork of terraces as you follow a narrow path winding up the mountainside. Along the way, you notice curious stone markers, small cairns and carved idols, dotting the fields like silent sentinels. Local lore says these are offerings to Pachamama, the Earth Mother, ensuring bountiful harvests and protection from frost. Mainstream anthropologists agree that such ritual markers were common throughout Andean agricultural zones, blending spiritual belief with practical farming wisdom. Fringe theorists speculate these stones encoded secret agricultural calendars or weather patterns, a form of ancient data storage historians still debate. You pause to inspect a peculiar mound, its stones arranged in a spiral. It's believed to be a sacred site where farmers performed seasonal rites, invoking the mountain spirits to bless their crops. The air here feels charged with reverence, a living connection between earth and sky. Nearby, a group of women kneels beside a sunken plot, planting tubers with practiced hands, each seed carefully placed to maximize sun exposure and water retention. You recall that Incan farming techniques relied heavily on microclimates, created by terracing, a strategy still admired for its sustainability. One of the women looks up, her face weathered but serene, and offers you a small purple potato. You accept gratefully, feeling the cool smoothness in your palm. You joke that this must be the original superfood, centuries before it became a trendy buzzword. As you continue upward, the vista expands, a quilt of emerald terraces bordered by jagged peaks and swirling clouds. The mountains seem to cradle these ancient farms, protecting a fragile harmony between human toil and nature's rhythms. You reflect on the invisible labor behind every bite of potato, the countless generations who nurtured these fields, blending science, spirituality, and sheer determination. Historians still argue how much of this wisdom was shared versus guarded jealously within communities. But the terraces speak eloquently of collaboration. A distant flute melody drifts across the air, a gentle reminder of stories passed through song, echoing the heartbeat of this sacred mountain. Descending from the terraces, you enter a shadowed valley where ancient irrigation canals weave through the soil like veins carrying life's blood. These stone-lined channels, expertly engineered, funnel precious mountain water to each plot. With uncanny precision, you watch as droplets glisten in the sun, nourishing the earth, a silent testament to Incan ingenuity. Mainstream engineers marvel at these aqueducts, often citing them as some of the most advanced pre-modern water management systems known. Fringe archaeologists hypothesize that some canal segments may have aligned with celestial events, integrating astronomy with agriculture, a theory historians still debate. Alongside the canals, small stone granaries punctuate the landscape. Their thick walls, built to preserve temperature and humidity, safeguarded surplus crops for lean times. You imagine storehouses filled with countless potato varieties, each seed carefully cataloged and preserved. A medieval seed bank far ahead of its time. You kneel beside a granary doorway, running your fingers over carvings depicting agricultural scenes and festive harvest dances. The vibrant artistry contrasts with the valley's muted hues, breathing life into stones weathered by centuries. Nearby, a solitary farmer tends a small fire, roasting tubers wrapped in leaves. The aroma of earth and smoke mingles, evoking a primal comfort. You joke that the first potato chip might have been born right here, centuries before fast food chains claimed the credit. A sudden breeze rustles the tall grasses, carrying whispers of old stories, of mountain gods, of heroic farmers battling frost, and of the sacred pact between humans and land. These oral traditions, passed through song and ceremony, remain a vital thread in the fabric of Andean culture. You marvel at how these waters and stones continue to sustain life, binding past and present in an unbroken flow. Historians still debate how knowledge of these irrigation methods spread across such rugged terrain, whether through conquest, trade, or shared reverence. As the sun dips lower, casting golden hues across the valley, you pause to reflect on the harmony etched into this landscape. A reminder that even in harsh places, thoughtful stewardship turns hardship into abundance. You rise and follow a winding footpath that skirts the edge of a cliff, revealing panoramic views of the terraced fields cascading toward distant valleys. Here, wild potato species still thrive, their small, vibrant tubers clinging stubbornly to rocky soil. You stoop to inspect a cluster, noting the striking diversity of shapes and colors: purple, red, yellow. All hidden treasures preserved by nature and human hands alike. Mainstream botanists recognize these wild relatives as genetic reservoirs crucial to modern crop resilience, while fringe ethnobotanists tell tales of shamans who spoke with the plants, invoking ancestral spirits for bountiful harvests, a practice historians still debate regarding its true prevalence. Nearby, a group of villagers gathers around a fire, weaving baskets from reeds and sharing stories beneath the vast Andean sky. Their laughter and song blend with the rustle of leaves and the distant call of condors, creating a living soundtrack to the land's timeless rhythm. You catch sight of a child carefully planting a tiny sprout, a silent promise of the future. The tradition of seed saving and selective breeding continues here, much as it did centuries ago when Incan farmers perfected their potato varieties through patience and observation. A passing elder nods knowingly, sharing a quick tale of a sacred festival where potatoes were honored as gifts from the earth goddess Pachamama. These rituals, rich in symbolism and gratitude, were vital to community cohesion and agricultural success. You reflect on how these practices intertwine biology, culture, and spirituality, an intricate tapestry that defies simple explanation. Historians still argue over the extent to which such beliefs shaped agricultural innovation versus practical necessity. As twilight descends, the sky blooms with stars, ancient guides that once helped travelers navigate rugged paths. You imagine the moonlight reflecting off potato leaves, shimmering like scattered jewels, a quiet testament to endurance and renewal. You smile, feeling the weight of history and hope mingling in the cool mountain air, a reminder that even forgotten crops hold stories waiting to be unearthed. You wander deeper into the shadowed valleys where the air grows cooler and mist clings to moss-covered stones. The ancient terraces here are overgrown, yet faint traces of irrigation channels glisten faintly, whispering of water once coaxed carefully from mountain streams to nurture these sacred farms. Mainstream archaeologists credit Incan engineers with astonishing hydraulic mastery, crafting systems that balanced nature and cultivation with remarkable finesse. Near a weathered stone wall, you spot remnants of ritual offerings: small clay vessels filled with maize kernels and tiny potato tubers, symbols of sustenance and reverence. Fringe anthropologists suggest these offerings were vital communication with deities. Yet historians still argue how widespread such practices were among everyday farmers versus elite priesthoods. A solitary figure appears, a farmer dressed in woven indigo and russet robes, tending to a patch of rare potato varieties with reverence and care. His hands move slowly, planting and harvesting with knowledge passed down through generations, bridging past and present. You sit beside him, sharing a quiet moment as he explains the lore of these crops, how some varieties bloom only under moonlight, or how certain tubers are believed to hold protective powers against illness. These stories mingle with scientific fact, creating a rich, layered understanding of life in these mountains. The farmer invites you to taste a small purple potato, its flavor earthy and subtly sweet, a taste of history itself. You savor the moment, marveling at the resilience embedded in these humble roots, survivors of centuries of climate, conflict, and change. As dusk falls, you notice smoke rising from distant hearths, signaling communal meals and storytelling gatherings. You imagine voices weaving ancient myths with everyday wisdom, a chorus carrying through the cool night air. The stars emerge once more, their constellations reflecting agricultural calendars that guided planting and harvest. Historians still debate how closely these celestial patterns influenced Incan farming cycles, but their enduring presence in folklore speaks volumes. You rise, feeling the serene weight of this hidden world, a reminder that beneath even the most mundane crops lies a universe of meaning and memory. The first light of dawn creeps gently over the sacred mountains, painting the terraces with hues of gold and soft rose. You find yourself alone amid the ancient fields, the air crisp and fragrant with wild herbs and damp earth. The silence is profound, broken only by the distant call of a condor soaring high above, an enduring symbol of freedom and watchfulness in these lands. As you walk along narrow stone paths, your footsteps echo softly against the terraces, and you sense the countless generations who once trod here, tending crops that sustained empires and nourished souls. Mainstream scholars recognize these terraces not merely as agricultural feats, but as living legacies of human ingenuity, resilience, and harmony with nature. You pause to examine a cluster of tiny potato blossoms, delicate and pale, their subtle beauty a testament to life's quiet persistence. Fringe historians speculate that some of these varieties were selectively bred to thrive at altitudes so harsh that few plants could survive. Yet others debate whether their resilience arose from chance mutations favored by ancient farmers. Nearby, a weathered stone altar bears faint carvings, likely a place where offerings were made to Pachamama, the earth goddess. You envision rituals performed here, songs sung, prayers whispered, binding human and divine in a sacred pact to ensure bountiful harvests and protection from famine. The morning light grows stronger, illuminating colorful textiles draped over nearby stones, remnants of ceremonies long past. You smile softly, imagining the laughter and warmth of those gatherings, their stories now woven into the very fabric of this land. As you take a final breath of the cool mountain air, your heart feels light, filled with the quiet knowledge that these forgotten potato varieties, sacred farms, and ancient rituals are threads in a vast tapestry stretching across time and culture. You begin your descent from the terraces, the rising sun guiding your steps, carrying with you the enduring spirit of the Silk Route's forgotten oasis markets and sacred mountain farms. A history not lost but sleeping, waiting to awaken in dreams.